Power.
Hi, everybody. So glad that you could be here. The weather is really cool for us today, you know, it's left out. Just like Hana said, she was born here in Boyle Heights, Japanese Americans and Japanese. This is one of the first immigrant communities. We weren't the first, you know, indigenous people, Tongva, Gabrielino, they were here, Spanish were here, Armenians were here, a lot of people here, and we're not the last. Right now, the places like Mexican and Latinos and Central Americanos live here. They're a community, and guess what? They're supporting us again. Just like they supported Japanese Americans in Boyle Heights when we got sent to U.S. concentration camps in 1942. Boyle Heights neighbors are still supporting us and took a position against Pacifica, saying that we should not kick out seniors during a pandemic. How do you feel about that? Kicking out seniors in the worst pandemic in 100 years.
No! No!
It's a no-brainer. What I wanted to have right now are some of the people who's going to be most impacted come up to the stage. And that's going to be some of the families of the people who are
My name is Kei-Ai, and I would like to start off by asking that all bow our heads and look to the Lord in prayer. To God right now. Dear Lord, we thank you so much for all the support and for allowing us to have another day to support our loved ones. Please, Lord, not enough to support the clothes, but the food in this time of news and news facing the COVID pandemic. And please, Lord, allow this facility to stay open so every generation of Japanese Americans and others will be able to provide the excellence of this care facility. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. I'd like to start off by thanking SOS Network for putting so much passion in your heart and soul towards the potato sale, because we way to save our elderly loved ones from losing their homes. I would also like to thank the Pacifica Community Advisory Board, the Boyle Heights Neighborhood Council Planning and Land Use Committee, Change.org, and all the wonderful committees and caring organizations that support us during this devastating time. For all our residents at Sakura ICF, as well as the staff and family members. My family actually has a very long history here. My mother is a resident of Sakura ICF. My grandmother resided at Cato prior to the passing, and I also have many friends that have loved ones that have been in this facility until their passing as well. Our children and grandchildren are also very familiar with this facility, whether it be Cato or Sakura Gardens. They think of this as Batan's or Jitan's home. They understand this is where we will live when we get older and need assistance to have a better quality of life. With this being said, there must be some way to save the facility for future generations as well. This is our parents and our loved ones' home. This is where they are comfortable. Many residents resided here for over a decade. Many residents don't have any biological family. The staff is their family. Sakura ICF is the only Japanese nursing facility we know that accepts Medi-Cal. Many residents speak Japanese. How can they communicate if they are placed elsewhere? One of my best friend's mothers just recently passed in November. She was so unhappy at the facility she resided in because she could not communicate with the staff. She was very unhappy and didn't eat because she was not accustomed to the food they were giving her. She became very thin and depressed. Thankfully, she was transferred to Kei-Ai, and had so much joy that she could talk to people, enjoy the food and the activities. Her ears were totally lifted. She actually gained so much weight her daughter had to buy her new clothes. She was so very happy there. On the evening prior to her passing, she somehow knew she wouldn't make it to the next day. She had never requested any special meals prior to that evening. She asked the nurse if she may have a bowl of udon, which is a very simple Japanese broth with noodles. This was actually her first and only meal request. Had she been in any other facility, she would not have been able to make that last request. If there was no Japanese-speaking staff, she wouldn't have been able to communicate. On her last night, before she passed, she also held her nurse's hand and thanked her for taking care of her. To sum it up, Sakura, ICF, and all the former Cato facilities are absolutely essential to our outreach. What other facilities could they reside in to make sure they were getting the best quality of life? When my mother first arrived here at Sakura ICF, she cried and wanted to come back to my house. She had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, dementia, and being bipolar. She missed her dog so very much and got separation anxiety. It was very heartbreaking, so I would drive from San Bernardino County and bring her dog for a visit. I don't mind the drive knowing my mother is in the best care possible. Due to the amazing experience of our administrator, Beverly Ito, she comforted my mother and told me she could talk to me anytime. My mother is now very comfortable and calls ICF her home. The entire staff goes over and beyond to care for our family. I would like to share that a few times prior to this pandemic, when I came to visit on the weekend, the nurse came into my mother's room to meet us. My visitation surprised her because she came in early prior to her shift to take my mother for a walk. She wanted to make sure my mother was able to go outside. I got very teary-eyed because of this act of true kindness, which is so touching my heart. Due to the outstanding administration of Beverly Ito, this facility is the best staff that we have since possibly before to care for their parents. All residents have been 100% COVID-free. 75 of the residents are over 9 years old, and 7 are over 100. Each floor has Japanese and English-speaking staff. We are informed and updated about all matters. Our loved ones have a variety of meals to choose from, and most importantly, the entire staff at Sakura ICF is the most absolute caring, dedicated, understanding, teaching team I have ever encountered. Please help us to continue this exceptional facility's doors to stay open for the present residents and generations to come. Please don't allow our loved ones' homes to be taken away from them. They will not receive this care anywhere else. And please know many of our parents had injustice and were relocated to concentration camps early in their life. Please don't allow this injustice to happen during the elderly part of their life as well. Thank you so much for listening, allowing me to share, and most gratefully for your support. I love my mother with all my heart. Please do not allow her to be evicted from her home as well as your children. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Francine. That was beautiful, courageous, and strong. I'd also like to ask a big Boyle Heights shout out for both Francine and the loyal, trustworthy, courageous workers at ICF. Let's hear it. Come on. Yay!
Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce our next guest. It's Miss Tamlin Tamita. You're not hallucinating. It really is her. Take it away, Tamlin.
Hello, everybody!
Woo!
beautiful Tuesday, January 26, 2021. Whose birthday is it today? Well, it is the 1-year anniversary of Kobe Bryant, but it is the birthday of our current California Attorney General Javier Becerra, who is the presidential nominee to be Secretary of Health and Human Services. This conference is paying attention to him and to our former AG, who is now the newly sworn in Madam Vice President of our United States, Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Newly appointed Senator from the San Fernando Valley, Alex Padilla. The
Yeah.
representative from this 34th District, Jimmy Gomez, that Javier Becerra also represented. California Assemblywoman of the 51st District, Wendy Carrillo. And LA Council Member Kevin De Leon. Thank you so very much for your representing our community here in Boyle Heights. This is to the Community Advisory Board and all the supporters of Pacifica. Please allow our loved, beloved seniors to live out their lives in this home that they know. Eat the food that they love and enjoy. Interact with people who understand them. And who you can ask yourself, how would you feel if these were your parents? These are our parents, our aunties and uncles, our grandparents. These are folks who helped build this, our community, all together so many years ago.
Watch the street.
These are the folks who built this city, raising our families through the good times and the bad. It is up to us, the sandwich generation, who balance the blessings and the challenges of not only raising our children, but providing for the elders who raised us. Our parents, aunties, uncles, grandparents, who are here, and the families who are concerned about the time that they have left here. I'm sure that all of us in our older years, our own doctors would say and advise us, no stress, no anxiety. And yet in this time of COVID-19 crisis and pandemic, Sakura ICM has remained virus-free due to the noteworthy and dedicated and truly caring staff led by Beverly Ito. Yet this stress and anxiety looms as Pacifica Companies have acted in bad faith over the 5-year extension laid out by then Attorney General Kamala Harris' office to not substantially change the culturally sensitive living environment for our aunties and uncles in this time of year. Yes, I admit that gentrification of the land you see here will inevitably come. But it comes at the cost of displacing these long-time residents and the contributors to the fabric of our great city. It hurts our communities. It hurts our neighbors. You see the wide swath of interconnectedness demonstrated here by the presence of David Silva from the Boyle Heights Neighborhood Council and Planning and Land Use Committee, Central CSO, within the Wintu Tribe and the North American Continental Network of Indigenous Women of the Americas. It is not just a Japanese-American issue. It is a neighborhood community issue.
Yes.
This is an issue that our Congress members, Maxine Waters and Judy Chu, and even the Secretary of Transportation and Commerce, Norman Mineta, have stood side by side in unity with our Japanese and Japanese-American elders to ensure that their lives are lived out with dignity and the security that their homes are as safe as they invested in. It is we who they invested in. It is what we can do together to seek that their investments and promised care are given to them. This is an example of unity, this call for national unity. It is, and Pacifica has broken its promises, agreed to, and subsequently chipped away at our nation's only Japanese bilingual and bicultural character of food, activities, music, song, stories, restricted rent increases, no leasing, rebuilding, changing, selling, or reduction of services. And especially at this time of COVID pandemic,
Pacifica has the time and its money. And yes, the plans for affordable housing are great. But it should not come at the cost of the lives of the greatest generation who are still with us and live here. The land will always be here. That deal was done. And you, Pacifica, did not live up to your end of the bargain you got. Our seniors yet live and still. Come on. The Japanese will persevere, and they pass on their legacy, and now are at their most vulnerable point of their lives, and the ones most at risk without our care. They are our elders. We are their future they invested in. Let us give them the dividends they earned. The future they can depend on. A moral society should protect its most vulnerable, its elders, its seniors, the ones who raised us from babyhood. I challenge Pacifica to live up to their philosophy, to improve the quality of life for the end user and those in the surrounding community. Their philosophy of respecting the ideas and concerns of everyone whom our development affects. Be true to your word, Pacifica. Have integrity.
Yes.
Practice compassion. Extend the care with care.
Yes.
No evictions, Pacifica.
No.
Say it with me. No evictions, Pacifica. No evictions, Pacifica. No evictions, Pacifica. Thank you.
Thank you, Chaplain, for standing up and speaking up for the elderly who can't walk, they can't talk, they don't understand what's going on, and they can't fight back. Thank you.
Right, that's right. Support the elderly.
Our next speaker is Kei-Ai. Kei, take it away.
Thank you to the Save Our Seniors
Thank you to the Save Our Seniors volunteers for supporting the residents and families and for allowing me to share my family's experience with the former Kei-Ai facilities with the press and public today. Thank you to all that have signed both the petition to save the Sakura Intermediate Care Facility and the petition to extend bilingual and bicultural services. Words cannot sufficiently express the gratitude I have for the support from various groups and individuals outside of the Japanese American community that have given our families their support. Thank you. I would like to share the experience my family has had with all 4 facilities that were sold by Kei-Ai to Pacifica Companies. My mother worked as a nurse's aide for 15 years into the year 2000 at the South Bay Kei-Ai Nursing Home. After retirement until 2018, she volunteered every Friday at that facility now known as the South Bay Kei-Ai Nursing Home. I moved my parents to Sakura Gardens in April 2019. My mom transitioned to the Sakura Memory Care Facility in August 2019. Shortly thereafter, my father had some medical issues and was transferred to the Kei-Ai Lincoln Heights. My father recovered and was able to transfer to Sakura ICF in November 2019. So we had experience with all of the facilities within the Kei-Ai system. The lifestyle change for my parents was made smoother because of the bilingual staff, the Japanese community and cultural lifestyle at Sakura Gardens Assisted Living, Sakura Memory Care, and Sakura ICF. After some adjustments, my parents were living comfortably at Sakura Gardens. I felt that my parents were better off there instead of living on their own without assistance. Before I signed the agreement with Sakura Gardens, I specifically asked if there was any truth in the rumors that the Kei-Ai facilities would be closed at the end of the 5-year conditional period. I was told that Pacifica would be committed to maintaining the Japanese culturally sensitive facilities as long as there were Japanese and Japanese American residents. A few months later, my mom's dementia progressed and she had to be admitted to the memory care unit. I was grateful that my mother was quickly admitted there and that my father would be nearby at Sakura Gardens. However, during my mom's short stay, she passed away in February 2020 at the Sakura Memory Care. There was a lot of staff turnover and very few Japanese-speaking staff. The only Japanese cultural connection was meals and other residents. She had dementia, and she had difficulty communicating with non-Japanese speaking staff, especially toward the end of her life. I felt that Pacifica was neither sensitive nor committed to providing Japanese speaking and Japanese culturally aware staff. I was told that there were no qualified Japanese and Japanese speaking candidates for the level of pay they were offering. My 93-year-old father has been a resident at Sakura ICF for over a year. Although my father doesn't participate in any of the group activities, because of the caring staff, the Japanese cultural community and atmosphere, the Japanese speaking staff and Japanese meals, he's able to live comfortably at Sakura ICF. Because of the COVID pandemic, I have not been able to visit my father at Sakura ICF on a regular basis. But because of Beverly Ito's excellent management and the entire staff's caring service at Sakura ICF, I have comfort that my father is well taken care of, and I have less anxiety about his well-being. If Sakura ICF is closed, I will have great difficulty finding a comparable facility. Not just my father, but all the residents would be displaced and would have to be moved to a non-Japanese facility. I have not received any notification or assistance from Pacifica regarding the status of Sakura ICF. My dad cannot live at an assisted living facility because he has a high risk factor of falling. He needs some medical care, but not enough to be in a skilled nursing facility. Sakura ICF provides the proper level of care and service for my father's needs. I don't think that there is a comparable facility available for him. He is safer at Sakura ICF than him living on his own with home health care. Kei-Ai has long been supported by the Japanese American and Japanese community. Japanese American and Japanese people were relying on Kei-Ai's existence to provide culturally sensitive care of all levels to the elderly of the Los Angeles Japanese American community. Thank you once again for allowing me to share our story.
Yay! Woo!
Thank you. Your story is a proven example of why bilingual and bicultural nursing care is not a luxury, it is a lifeline for your survival. Thank you, Carrie, and thank you for exposing the mind-bending deceit and cruelty of the owner. Our next speaker is Dr. Matsumoto.
Hi, can I? Have one of these goes. Thank you.
Some of the things that what Hamlet and Carrie said, Pacifica last week, their lawyer told the community advisory board members that the owners are not interested in extending government oversight for another 5 years. They want to make money. She said, my clients need to make money. That's the nature of the business. This is what Pacifica's lawyer, Sarah Short, told us last week. And you can call Pacifica to verify.
Boo.
They were listed as making $424 million just in U.S. operations. They're mainly in Mexico and India. India is where they're really big. So if they're making that much here, think how much they're making totally, internationally. Now we hear from Dr. Takeshi Matsumoto. He'll be speaking here as an individual doctor of many of the patients for more than 30 years. He's a member of the Korean Senior Care Advocacy, but he'll be speaking as an individual here.
Bilingual caregivers. In 11 days, these conditions will expire. The business of the ICF. Hello, I'm Dr. Takeshi Matsumoto. Thank you all for supporting the elderly residents of Sakura Intermediate Care Facility. Over 30 years, I have taken care of thousands of residents at the Kei-Ai nursing home, the Sakura retirement home, and the Sakura Intermediate Care Facility, or the ICF. On February 6, 2016, Kei-Ro, a non-profit organization, sold these facilities to Pacifica Companies, a for-profit company. At that time, the California Attorney General imposed 5 years of conditions for the sale, which included providing culturally sensitive care and bilingual caregivers. In 11 days, these conditions will expire, and the residents of the ICF will be at the mercy of Pacifica. On September 10, 2020, Pacifica requested approval from the Boyle Heights Neighborhood Council Planning and Land Use Committee to close and demolish the ICF and to build a multi-unit rental property. The plan was rejected by the committee. Hearing numerous community objections, including that from
Yes.
Congresswoman Maxine Waters,
Good.
Congresswoman Julie Chu, Assemblyman Al Muratucci, and the former Assemblyman Warren Furudani. In spite of this, Pacifica has submitted the plan to the City of Los Angeles. The current status of the application is uncertain. If approved, Pacifica will evict over 60 elderly residents from the ICF. Most of these old folks are dependent on Medi-Cal to pay for their care. Without Medi-Cal, they cannot afford to get the care they need. Most of these elders are primarily Japanese speaking and dependent on Japanese speaking caregivers. In the United States, these ICF residents will not find the affordable and culturally sensitive intermediate care facility, assisted care facility, or a nursing home. There are no safety nets for these old folks. Pacifica has lost money maintaining the ICF for the last 5 years. And from a business point of view, closing the ICF makes sense. But it's inhumane, especially during this pandemic, which will last another year and perhaps 2 years considering the new mutations of COVID-19. For decades, Kei-Ro solicited donations for the endowment to cover the shortfalls in payment from Medicare and Medi-Cal for its former facilities. Using this endowment, Kei-Ro should give grants to the residents to maintain the ICF and to offset the financial loss incurred by Pacifica. Let's keep the ICF alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
of the mind-bending greed and cruelty in Pacifica. So no evictions, Pacifica. No evictions, Pacifica.
No evictions, Pacifica. No evictions, Pacifica. No evictions, Pacifica. No evictions, Pacifica.
No evictions, Pacifica. Thank you very much. Can we have Carlos Montes, please, come to the stage? Carlos and Mr. David Silva. Mr. David Silva and Carlos Montes. I'd like to introduce Mr. David Silva from the Boyle Heights Neighborhood Council, a great ally. Yeah.
Yes.
Right,
Thank you for being here.
It's great to see everyone here collectively coming together. As the chair of planning and land use, back in September, I get notifications when things are being built within Boyle Heights and plans are filed. I saw a plan for an extensive development, almost 80 units of affordable or housing that's just placed on a property. It didn't seem entirely unusual till I pulled the address up and found it was Sakura Gardens. Sakura Gardens, this property has been an elder care facility for almost 100 years in Boyle Heights, starting as the Jewish home of the aged, and then transitioning into Cairo and then Sakura Gardens. It's been a 100-year legacy of zoning for elders in our community. It was sick plans filed by Pacifica to not even inform the director of the facility that they were planning on building multifamily houses to wedge the Sakura and ICF Tower amongst other members of the community. It's an unprecedented planning decision that I've never seen in my professional career. I want to say that we are holding Pacifica Companies accountable. Pacifica Companies has not responded to my personal requests to attend planning and land use meetings, and when they do, it comes out between an arbitrary letter of, we really don't have anything to update. Today's protest was brought on themselves for their failure to update the community, the Japanese American community, and address the elders that are in these towers, and they deserve better.
Yes, they do.
Sick thing that Pacifica is doing. And even at the 11th hour, they could not come to the table. Now, we as a community, across all cultures and generations, we will hold them accountable. That's my personal promise to you. The Neighborhood Council has opposed unanimously and vehemently any building on this site, and we will support any and all measures that come through to protect the seniors of our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
No evictions! No evictions!
Thank you so much. Let's give it up for Mr. David Silva.
Yeah!
Give it up for David Silva.
Yeah!
All right. Don't kick out our seniors in a pandemic. Unequal health care is systemic.
Yes.
Don't kick out our seniors in a pandemic. Unequal health care is systemic.
That's right.
We have Nancy Takayama from the Japanese American Citizens League. I believe it's the Natsu? Pacific, West Pacific Southwest. Nancy.
Hi, I'm Nancy Takayama with the District Governor for the Japanese American Citizens League, Pacific Southwest District. I was in attendance during the Pacifica's presentation to the public at the Boyle Heights Neighborhood Council Planning and Land Use meeting. In this presentation, the Pacifica representative shared their plans to build a multi-family housing and parking structure on the current site of Sakura Gardens, immediate care facility that would displace the current 90 residents. During the question and answer period, the representative was asked, where will the current residents be placed? It was very obvious. no thought was given to the care of these residents. They stated, some residents, if they are able, can be placed in other rooms on the campus, and others will be relocated to the outside of Sakura Gardens. In response, it was asked if the residents will still have the same immediate care needed, and if relocated outside to another facility, will they go to a home that will be culturally sensitive? Both questions could not be answered to satisfy and would honor the 5-year agreement. This response clearly showed lack of concern and care for these residents. Where did the commitment for a prosperous lifestyle that's filled with comfort of traditional foods, language, and culture go? A home for the residents where the staff, volunteers, and community can share experience and experience gaman, ohana, and sokai. The JACL Pacific Southwest District Board, Solonico JACL, Greater Los Angeles JACL, San Fernando Valley JACL, Twin City JACL Minnesota, and Mile High JACL Denver support allowing the seniors at Sakura Gardens to have access to the full extent of cultural, bilingual care and health services already being provided and should continue through an extension of the 5-year agreement. Taking the capacities and the bed spare of the facilities away puts the most vulnerable population of residents in an unnecessary danger and exposure to the still raging, mutating coronavirus pandemic. We are against the forced removal of any residents and limiting any capabilities at Sakura Gardens.
That's right.
Thank you.
Yeah, no evictions! No evictions, Pacifica! No evictions, Pacifica! No evictions, Pacifica! Hi. Tracy Imamura, can you come to the stage, please? We have a statement from Councilman Kevin DeLeon. A letter to the Attorney General from Councilman Kevin DeLeon. Yes. Councilman DeLeon could not be here, unfortunately. He wished he could, and he sent his support for our event, and he wanted to have his letter read off.
Yes, and he donated PPE masks here, so we'd also like to thank him and his office for that. This is to the Honorable Javier Becerra. Congratulations on your nomination to serve as Health and Human Services Secretary in President-elect Biden's cabinet. The prospect of having such a highly respected California-based member on the President's team is exciting as we begin to rebuild a new foundation for progress in America. As you know, I was recently sworn in as the councilman for the 14th District in the city of Los Angeles. So my attention has shifted from statewide issues to local ones. The challenges my constituents are facing in CD14 are a microcosm of the same challenges on which we worked to address in the legislature during my time as leader of the California Senate. In the Boyle Heights neighborhood of my district and your former congressional district, the Cairo Retirement Home, renamed Sakura Gardens, has been serving the Japanese community for many years. Following the sale of Sakura Gardens to Pacifica Companies in February 2016, Pacifica was required by the Attorney General's office to maintain the services Sakura Gardens' previous owner provided to the community for 5 years. As you know, that requirement will sunset in 2021. Already, Pacifica is gearing up to close portions of Sakura Gardens facilities,
6 feet apart.
relocate clients, convert the intermediate
No,
care
we're keeping 6 feet
facilities
apart.
into multi-family residential units. It is unconscionable to force the existing clients out of this viable facility at the height of a global pandemic that continues to devastate aging adults. Forcing so many medical patients to find a comparable standard of care at the height of this pandemic at a facility not already ravaged by COVID-19 might be nothing short of a death sentence. These actions are dangerous and potentially deadly. Our society wrongly treats our aging population as something to hide, marginalizing those who have worked and sacrificed their entire lives to build a better world for the next generation. They deserve better. With the vaccine beginning to be distributed, I'm asking you to extend the conditions currently in place and maintain the services at Sakura Gardens for existing clients until the vaccine has been broadly distributed among the vulnerable population. We are pursuing every legal and moral option to prevent these elderly residents being ripped from the place they call home, but you and your office are the critical decision makers in this process. I respectfully request that you and your staff take another look at this proposed transition in the light of the unprecedented pandemic and extend the current conditions to permit the current residents to continue receiving care with the respect and dignity they deserve. Sincerely, Kevin De Leon, Councilman, 14th District, Los Angeles City Council.
Thank you.
KDL, thank you.
Thank you.
No more evictions! Woo!
We're going to have one more statement, then we're going to have Carlos Montes from Central CSO address the crowd, and then we're going to be ending it after that. This is a statement released by Assemblymember Al Murasuki for this event, and we would like to say, I stand with the Japanese American community in opposing real estate developer Pacifica's plan to convert the Sakura Garden intermediate care facility into an apartment building. I join the community in calling on the Attorney General to enforce and extend the conditions of sale, to protect our seniors, and to continue culturally sensitive healthcare services for Japanese Americans. I have called on the Attorney General to enforce and extend the conditions of sale of the former Kei-Ai facilities, to protect our seniors, and to continue culturally sensitive healthcare services. I am also working with Assemblymember Miguel Santiago, who represents Boyle Heights, to introduce Assembly Bill 279 to protect all California seniors during this pandemic by refusing to allow any nursing home or intermediate care facility to evict or transfer residents to another facility or to change the conditions of healthcare services
Yes.
during the COVID state of emergency.
Yes.
In closing, we have a moral obligation to do everything we can for our seniors during this pandemic. I stand with all of you in fighting for our seniors.
Yeah! Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you, Al Murasuki. Now, Mr. Carlos Montes from Central CSO.
Woo!
Yes.
No more evictions!
All right, everyone. Thank you, David. Thank you. And thank you all of you for being here in solidarity with the Japanese American community, especially our elders. My name is Carlos Montes. I'm with Central CSO Community Service Organization. It was founded here in Boyle Heights.
Yeah.
All right. I went to Halifax Middle School, Roosevelt High School, where we had Japanese American students, black students, Chicano students, East European students. We're all united to fight for better education. I live here in Boyle Heights. And don't tell anybody I'm 73 years old. So I know a little bit about what it is to struggle.
Yeah!
All right, everyone. Yeah. Solidarity. There's a lot of solidarity out there. Everybody
Yes.
on Facebook, Instagram, and getting a lot of messages from all over the Southern California from our community in solidarity with the Japanese American elders are saying no to the eviction.
No.
Extend the conditions, right? Yeah. But I did want to say that this is a racist, white supremacist gentrification attack on our community. Yay! The tip of the spear, check this out, the tip of the spear of gentrification, visualize that, the tip of the spear is police harassment, police killings of the young Chicano men and women that we experienced in high rise in 2016, young Chicanos being killed by LAPD Hollenbach. The next stage was buying up the apartments, jacking up the rent by big multinational corporations that are coming to Boyle Heights, jacking up the rent, evicting our people. That is what Pacifica is doing right here. An attack on our Japanese American community by buying Sakura gardens that provides excellent service and trying to put them out at market rate. I don't believe they're going to do affordable housing. You know, they say that, they throw that out, but they're going to try to do market rate. Now, what does market rate mean? Market rate means all of us working people cannot afford that type of rent, right? So that's why we're saying here, no to the evictions, no to Pacifica, no to Pacifica coming in. We got to sue them. We got to pass legislation to stop them. We got to protest them, right? We got to protest them. We got to write letters. I'm glad that, that the neighborhood council is solidarity. And I'm sorry I missed David's talk. I'm sure it was awesome.
Yes.
So eloquent, right?
Eloquent.
They're very detail-oriented. But yeah, right. But I'm here to be in solidarity, say no to the eviction. The struggle continues. I recall, I'm sure maybe some of you talked about it, that when New Tokyo was facing gentrification, the Chicano community of Boyle Heights were in solidarity. Stop the overdevelopment, the buildings of Little Tokyo, and all trying to destroy the Little Tokyo community. Many struggled in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, but we're standing in solidarity with the Japanese American community. Because the Japanese American community has always supported the struggle for equality. We're not against war, but also supporting the struggle of the Chicano people for equality. So that's why we're here in solidarity. And I will say, yes, I stand here speaking for the Chicano movement because I've put in 50 years, so I think I can say that, right? So to wrap it up, I did a Spanish language hit, medium for you all because they were asking for Spanish. I said, not too small, and they said they knew who I was. I live here. I'm going to die here in Boyle Heights. And I just want to emphasize that for Pacifica to do this in the middle of a pandemic is a human rights violation to evict seniors, right? Where I live at, I'm a healthy guy. I try to do my yoga and stay healthy, do my coffee, right? But many of the people I live with are really sick, right? And we're staying indoors to try to evict the pandemic. But for Pacifica to attempt to evict these elders at this stage of age in their lives is a human rights violation. It's a racist attack against the Japanese American community. So we're here in solidarity to say no to Pacifica, no to eviction, then stop this development.
That's right.
Thank you very much. No to eviction.
No to evictions! No to evictions!
No eviction.
No evictions!
No evictions! No to Pacifica!
Seniors, yes. Evictions, no. Seniors, yes. Evictions, no. Seniors, yes. Evictions, no. Seniors, yes. Evictions, no. Don't you guys program in a pandemic? Unequal healthcare is systemic, is it not?
Yes!
We're going to bring this to a conclusion. All we want to say is that we're going to continue struggling. We want your input to this event as well as to the struggle in general. Unless we get your ideas and your energy, we can't continue.
That's why we need you here. We're not a funded organization. We're strictly families and friends, volunteer grassroots families and friends of the residents and patients at the Kei-Ai facilities. SOS does it in, we try to respect language equality as well as the privacy of all the patients.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you.
Thank you for your dedication.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll fight with you. Yeah. Thank you.